My name is Samuel Matsukure. I'm from Zimbabwe and work for Girls and LGBTI Association in Zimbabwe. After our discussions with the LGBTI sector in Zimbabwe at Kopano, one of the key issues that came out is that Zimbabwe has made so much progress within the HIV response, but there are still issues around pushback in terms of raising our identities, our sexual orientation, because the discourse is based around key populations and not the different diverse groups that exist within the LGBTI community. It is important that we continue to challenge the discourse as well as participate within social, economic and political situation. We are also afraid and worried about the PVO bill that will be introduced in the country, which will curtail human rights organizations, including LGBTI community. It is therefore important that we call to the solidarity of other organizations within the region and also globally to make sure that where rights are violated, we stand together. And we also want you to look out for us even during elections in the next coming year.
My name is Pinti. I come from the Kingdom of eSwatini, where I work with the transgender community under Transwati. But as the country Eswatini, after the discussion at Kopano representing the LGBTI community, we discovered that we are moving towards the consortium, which is a bigger body of the LGBTI community, where we want to work in solidarity, because for quite some time we've worked in silos and we have lost so much in activism. The legislation of the country needs to be put into place, which has caused our losses as a community, and we also need to go back and start consulting with the community and feeding into the community that we work with.
My name is Nozizwe and I'm from Botswana, and in our discussion for 1 minute we had a conversation about the challenges that we're experiencing, and a lot of them are around a lack of intersectionality in terms of movements, because certain things tend to be in silos and we want to deal with things one at a go as opposed to adopting things at the same time intersectionally. We also identified that there's a challenge in terms of research. Not enough people, queer folks, are producing knowledge for themselves, by themselves, for our own benefit. Funding also tends to be a concern for us, because sometimes the projects tend to be donor-centric as opposed to people-centric. But at the same time, we were able to acknowledge that there is growth in the movement and there is opportunity for more growth. And something that we have decided collectively as Botswana today is to take the conversation further and continue to have more instances of this nature where we meet, we commune, and we collectively reflect on ourselves.
My name is Florence F. Tragas. I'm a lesbian feminist activist from Namibia. Our country context, things that we were discussing was the impacts of COVID-19 in terms of how it has made us stronger as the LGBTQ plus movement. It has given us an opportunity as organizations to talk about what resilience means for us. How are we strengthening ourselves? How are we strengthening our organization? How are we thinking about sustainability? So we are at a very good place as a movement whereby we are talking about innovation, we are talking about the status of our community, we are talking about how we are caring for ourselves as activists and how we are caring for ourselves as a community.
I'm Terence from the Mauritius Island. So our discussion was regrouping 3 main countries, Mauritius, Madagascar and Seychelles. During the discussion we saw that we have many political and economical issues in terms of, the policies are here, but they are not really appropriate for the LGBT community. Those are the main aspects we spoke about during the discussion. We also spoke about the transgender difficulties, how they face difficulties in their countries, and how there was no real political will to help those people. So that is a big what we talk about during the discussions.
I'm Tulim Dwache, representing South Africa. With regards to creating a roadmap in South Africa, what we spoke about is establishing a resource hub that will allow for others to reach out, building a database, a centralized database system, which will help in providing referrals for those in need, but also mapping and knowing where are activists located, should there be cases that require further support. There's a need of tracking of hate crime cases, tracking of money with regards to government directives and interventions. We also spoke about labor rights for LGBTI activists, we need spaces where we have these honest engagements. There's a need of addressing intimate partner violence, where perpetrators of violence are fellow activists. We spoke about visible collaboration in relation to the full decriminalization of sex work, and also internal politics about how we position ourselves that lead to working in silos. So for an example could be in the case where Prof. Mfakeng made a statement or created a platform where there was engagement. When there was a backlash, one organization stepped up to journey with Prof. Mfakeng and other organizations stepped back, and then this was interpreted as if we do not support the organization's stance in creating and helping Prof. Mfakeng in redefining what is allyship. So there's a need for a collaborative voice in pushing for inclusivity in society, even if we have different opinions on certain matters. So there's a need to collaborate better.
My name is Tata Tinyani, here representing Lesotho. From our discussions, we have heard that Lesotho's organizations and activists that are working in the LGBTI community have had achievements in the legislature through the legal gender recognition, as well as the passing of the domestic violence bill, which includes SOGI. More than that, after the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen that HIV programming has successfully integrated to virtual programming, as well as they have developed an SRHR scorecard, which is being used in programming as well. We've also had achievements in the HPV vaccine that is currently going on that has included an LGBTI lens as well. In the community right now in Lesotho, we are working towards income generation activities to help decentralize our movements into the other districts, and these income generation activities give an autonomous sustainability to those communities so they can sustain themselves and do programs in the districts. There is good news that from this convening, organizations and our activists from Lesotho have decided to come together and collaborate in the form of a forum or a network so as to solidify the LGBTI movement in the country so we can collaborate on work and do the work that needs to be done.
Eu sou David Kanga, sou de Angola. Alguns dos pontos que nós encontramos nas discussões que nós tivemos com o meu grupo foram os desafios que nós encontramos no seio da comunidade LGBT na fase do confinamento por causa da Covid-19. Um deles foi o aumento do desemprego no seio da comunidade LGBT, o aumento do nível de problemas mentais no seio da comunidade, a falta de oportunidades de capacitação técnica e bem como a exclusão no seio familiar e a opressão psicológica e violência doméstica. Alguns desafios que nós encontramos foram as oportunidades de advocacia no seio das instituições governamentais, bem como a recolha de dados da situação socioeconômica da comunidade LGBT, e assim conseguimos criar estratégias que possam vir a ajudar a comunidade queer no acesso aos serviços de saúde, no acesso aos serviços de capacitação das organizações, bem como no acesso às capacitações técnicas para poderem ser integrados no mercado de trabalho.
Chamo-me Frank Lilesa, sou de Moçambique e nas discussões o que foi importante reter foi a questão de como é que a questão LGBT está a ser difundida, como está a ser interligada através desses espaços. E é bom voltar à história e ver como é que nós estamos de 10 anos para cá e que as discussões e os espaços cada vez estão a ser cada vez mais abrangentes. Temos muitos outros assuntos a ver com a comunidade LGBT a nível da África regional, mas a ideia de estar aqui e pôr todos estes planos e todas as questões, esses planos acelerados, é uma vantagem, e também incluir outras diversidades a nível da África Austral. Tem sido uma experiência muito boa. Espero que daqui a alguns 3, 4 dias que vamos ter, consigamos, desde todo o contexto, problemas que enfrentamos, até a possíveis soluções, tenhamos um plano estratégico muito bem explorado e analisado e avançado.